Am I the butthole for telling some of my siblings it would be too awkward if I invited them to my wedding? Not a typical one. I have 2 biological brothers and I have 3 half-adoptive siblings and 1 stepsister. My dad married my adoptive mom when I was a year old and my brothers were a little older. My dad also adopted 3 of my step-siblings, the 3 half-adoptive siblings. I only use specifics so it makes sense. Anyway, when I was 9 my dad and mom died in a car accident leaving all of us without parents. My stepsister took her biological siblings in, and our grandparents helped her, but they left me and my brothers to go into foster care and did not keep in touch with us. They also did not let us keep in touch with our siblings. When I turned 18 I, along with my brothers, reached out to our other siblings, only to be told it would be too weird and awkward to reconnect after everything. It hurt, I'm not going to lie. I spent so many years excited to see them again and they rejected us. Last year, my brothers reconnected with them but I didn't. They didn't show that much enthusiasm then either, but when I announced my engagement they got more interested and have tried since. But they have also asked me straight up about inviting them. My reply was it would be too weird and awkward to have them there after everything. They did not like my reply. They said I am being really unfair to them and we're still family. Yeah, but I want to know they give a crap and not that they want a fun day out because they only seem to be invested now, after the wedding announcement. AITA? This is all very sad. I'm sorry this is your backstory. I'm glad things seem to be looking up. You've done well to make it through this kind of unideal childhood, understatement, with your sense of self, and of right and wrong, intact. Very obvious, not the butthole. Congratulations on your wedding. Thanks. It sucks. It does. I knew their older sister didn't exactly think much of me and my brothers, but I was hoping my other siblings would still care more. Like, I get it must have been weird for them and who knows what their sister and extended family said. But we spent 8 years as family, they were all older than me and we had been close. Knowing they didn't even want to gradually build back up for so many years sucks. And we lost the people who connected us all. I miss them so much. And we lost the people who connected us all. I miss them so much. I'm not sure who you are referring to with the above. If it is your parents, all I can say is I am sorry. So sorry. If it is people who are still alive, please understand the choice and the option to rekindle a relationship is apparently there for you to make and take, if you want it. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty about not wanting a relationship though. Do what works for you. I met my parents. Our parents. They were the ones who made us a family. The extended family and my stepsister did not. They never considered me and my brothers the same. Which I do get. It's just. I know that apparently the plans had been for them to take us all, I think my adoptive grandparents, so I will always wonder if things had just changed or they just agreed so arrangements could be made and they could get their real grandkids without any issue, but then stepsister wanted her siblings and it worked for them. If that's the case, then go back and check any agreements or paperwork that was made. You may also have been screwed out of inheritance. It sounds like the grandparents and stepsister were greedy and I wouldn't be surprised if they did something fishy. You definitely need to consult a lawyer. Surely, your parents had life insurance. Congrats on your wedding. Enjoy your day. See if they want to connect afterwards. This. Money makes people do awful things. Sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold if they did steal from you all. If you weren't biological family, and with her being very young, it's also very likely that it just wasn't legally an option, or recommended/approved by family services for the sister to take on all of the children. We don't know your story, but there's a lot more to guardianship than just deciding you want to do it. Either way, they could have kept in touch. Too little too late it seems. The grandparents left them high and dry as well though. I hope you and your brother are okay now. Wouldn't be the first set of crappy grandparents out there. I got 5 sets myself. Want to hear about the hoarders, the religious nut who bailed her ex-son-in-law out of jail, the step-grandparent who never even pretended to care, the grandma who brought my birthday presents a month early, or the one who disowns us for no reason? Seriously. 4 parents, 5 sets of grandparents. All duds. Edit, hoarders are also religious nuts. So there's that. Wouldn't be the first set of crappy grandparents out there. Well, That explains your username. There is no law against keeping in touch, which they all chose not to do with Op. The bio-relatives of half-siblings would be considered relatives to original poster and the brothers. The adoption would also make all the people related to the mom or dad to be considered relatives to the children. This is federal law in terms of foster care. If both parents legally adopted each other's kids, all initially had equal claim by default. If they were listed as beneficiaries, that's even better. If they get a judgment on a policy or any property, that opens the door on other assets. Huge motivators for the rest of family to reject them. 1. Total buttholes. 2. Reduce liability while claiming all revenues from estate of deceased parents. It would be a reason for grandparents and older sister to discourage a future relationship between younger siblings. What if even one spoke about having a college fund or a trove of family heirlooms via their parents, or using their inheritance to buy a car? That can of worms would definitely make a reunion weird and awkward. It would definitely be worthwhile to have a lawyer research original paperwork. The executor of Op's parents' estate could owe the other kids a share of the inheritance plus interest. Pending jurisdiction, there's a possibility of civil and criminal liability. In such a case, a lot of judges probably wouldn't be overly compassionate towards adults who stole 3 orphans' inheritance and dumped them into foster care. That's some Charles Dickens type crap right there. They rejected you later under their own volition. You owe them nothing. Not the butthole. Op was the youngest, I think, and reached out when she turned 18. That's when she was told rekindling a relationship would be weird and awkward. So absolutely she is not the butthole here. It's simple. Tell them that due to COVID you want the people you truly consider family. And due to past interactions it seems they are only interested in the event, not the people involved. Tell them after the wedding you are happy to gradually build a bond again, but after having no connection whatsoever for years you are not comfortable calling them family. Also it does feel like a lot of people are being lumped in together here. I suspect if original poster unpicked the situation a bit they'd find a more nuanced range of feelings than weird and awkward. In my experience it's not uncommon for one member of a group to take it on themselves to speak for the others in the group. Maybe all the siblings are awful, but it may be that just one of them has taken on the role of gatekeeper and is dominating the relationship and controlling the flow of information. My mother-in-law did that a lot. I thought my sister-in-law was pretty mean until I stopped going through mother-in-law and reached out directly to my sister-in-law. Turns out she's lovely and thought I was mean. You need to explain that to your step-siblings. Tell them that you were looking forward to rebuild the relationship when you reached out before and they refused. You respected their wishes despite how much it hurt you. You moved on and that they need to respect that you don't feel comfortable having them for an intimate event when they weren't there for all your life after the unfortunate death of your parents. The fact that it's okay for them to set boundaries but not for you is unfair and they need to accept that. You need to explain that to your step-siblings. Not the butthole, they get it. Or not. I agree with this, no explanation is owed, regardless of the history. But even if one were deserved, it's pretty obvious. Absolutely not the butthole. I'm the youngest of 9, 3 adopted sisters, 4 half-brothers, and 1 half-sister. In addition, my husband and I have 7 altogether, 2 of his, 3 of mine, 1 bio his/adopted mine, and 1 together. So I'm pretty experienced with the various complications and opportunities for stepped on toes that go with families made up like this. I'm truly sorry for the inevitable losses and completely avoidable hurt you've suffered. It's tragic when life takes people away from us, but just horrible when people choose to pile more pain on top of it. You sound like you've come through amazingly well, though. You could be bitter and vengeful about it, but that's not what I'm getting from you at all. You just seem to have reached a place of peace in your own life, and want to keep it that way. You are not in the wrong here. Marriage is a sacrament and a lifelong commitment, not a party, and weddings are for and about the 2 people who are getting married, not the people they know. No matter what the history is, you're not obligated to invite one single solitary person that you don't want there. Much less are you obligated to invite people who will distract, and may well detract, from your focus on your fiancé and your own happiness. You don't owe them anything, but if you wish you could tell them this, you just don't feel there's sufficient time before the wedding for everyone to get comfortable with each other again. But if they truly want to mend fences, perhaps the group of you could plan a little family retreat or other holiday get-together afterward. If they sincerely want you and not just the fun day, that will be fine with them. And if they're not willing to wait, then they're nobody you want in your life anyway. You respected their feelings when they refused to have you in their lives. Now it's their turn to respect you and yours. Period. Beautifully said. Yeah, but I want to know they give a crap and not that they want a fun day out because they only seem to be invested now, after the wedding announcement. This one is easy. Call them up and tell them that you're too busy with the wedding to spend time building back up the relationship to the point where you'd feel comfortable having them at your wedding. However, after the wedding and honeymoon are over, you'll be at your leisure to start building those relationships up again. When do they want to start visiting? You'll know what they're really after by their response. Not the butthole. I would try to connect at a different time when it's more neutral. No matter what this sub believes, you are not emotionally mature just because you turn 18. You all went through a lot and who knows what nonsense was fed to them about why they didn't want to take you in as well. Maybe they were pushed to say no and now that they are older they are interested. Or maybe they just want to put on a family show for the public and go to a party. Who knows? But if you really want a family, I'd give it a go with just a phone call for 30 minutes twice a month and see how it feels, no pressure. Was the youngest and is no longer 18. I'm referring to how original poster tried to reconnect at 18. A lot of people on Reddit say they're over 18, they're an adult, they should know better, and I think that's just because there are a lot of young people in advice subs. I'm in my late 20s and my friend showed me messages from this old fight we had in 2011. I decimated her like full on never talk to me again. And it was so stupid and I was so wrong. I was just someone who was abused and didn't fully have a grasp on how to process emotions, so I overreacted and was hurtful. I was technically an adult, so by some people's standards I should have known better and I'm a villain, but you don't know crap when you are 18, especially if you experience trauma. I'm still having trouble figuring it out and I'm almost 30. It's okay to forgive if that's what your own soul and well-being needs. But it's also okay to be very cautious and take your time healing from hurt feelings. You're not the butthole, they only consider you family when they want something from you, in this case an invite to the wedding. You were ignored and disregarded every other time. I think it's best that you just move on. First off, not the butthole. Second, while you have every right to continue to live a life separate from them as they chose to do so to you however many years ago, if you do still miss them and want to reconnect or attempt to rekindle any relationship you had, I would say go for it. However, a wedding is not the venue to do that. You are right in not wanting to invite them to your wedding, it's your day. Should tell them to go F themselves after trying to pull the "we're still family" card. Where were they when you were a child that needed them? They're only interested now because of an open bar and free food. Congratulations on your wedding. I hope your wife knows she got a playa for life, and that's no bullcrapton. Sorry. Had to throw in some pack. But seriously, this is a hard situation you've lived through. The fact that the whole family was perfectly fine with erasing your existence is absolutely horrendous. Not the butthole, it's your wedding. It's your choice. Maybe if they cared through all the years you were sent back into the system, it would matter. But they didn't. So it doesn't. Not the butthole, and it's weird and awkward that they'd even ask you. Yeah, you start with something low stakes like brunch and build from there. Not a wedding. Coffee then brunch for this. I'd want to be able to leave at once if things go south, but I wouldn't be able to abandon half-eaten eggs Benedict. You are so right. My wife and I made the mistake of having a really unpleasant talk with her sister-in-law at a great brunch place, thinking, hey, at least we'll get a great brunch out of this. A half hour and she says something to us that I just have to get up and walk away from because she was trying to provoke us, but as I'm heading to the door I see a warm tray of perfect blintzes being brought out, and I basically become a cartoon character being carried through the air by its nose by the aroma of a fresh pie. When I sit down she starts in again and about how she knew I wouldn't leave. I told her she had until I finished the blintzes. But in the end the joke was on her, because my wife and those bottomless mimosas got in the last word. Damn, I miss brunch. Just here to say I miss brunch too. Oh, an original poster is not the butthole. Just buy sparkling wine and orange juice, make some eggs Benedict or whatever you like to eat, and have a brunch date at home one day that your wife and you both have off. It won't be exactly the same, but at least the company will be good. That is always a good suggestion. We actually have been doing that about twice a month since the staying indoors began, half with our kids, half without, for an adult brunch, for which we get dressed up. Helps with the old sanity. I'm not a brunch person, but I miss Brazilian steakhouse. I've only ever been to one and it was super expensive, but I've been dreaming of it for 6 months now. And I can't even find lamb in my local supermarket to stave off that craving. I'm totally going once it's safe. Today I got put on the list for vaccine appointments, so there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That would be a traitorous thing to do to the Bennies, making you an Eggs Benedict Arnold. I'll see myself out now. NTA. I don't blame you for not inviting them. They didn't bother with you for years. If they want to work on having a relationship after the wedding, would be a time to start working on it. Exactly, perhaps they can mend things eventually, but a wedding isn't the time to do it. Probably won't be mending anything after this. It's definitely not the place. They weren't excited to see original poster just for the love of family. I doubt they'll be genuinely excited for him at his wedding. They just want to play dress up and go to a free party/meal. It really sucks and isn't the time to play the family card. Not the butthole invite the family and friends who have always been there for you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.